Welcome to another episode of TXCPA Houston Virtual Rolodex. Today, I have a really special guest for you all. She has been part of my network for a long time, and I can't wait for you guys to get to meet her. She is a speaker, she is a coach, she is a friend. So, Dana, please introduce yourself and give us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Kristie. It's always great to see you. It feels like our paths cross intermittently, and yet we always pick up where we left off, no matter where it's been, right?
Yeah.
For a long time. Um, Dana Garnett. My business is the Mindful Strategy. In short, the strategy piece comes from having been Big Eight, public accounting, Coopers and Lybrand back in the day, auditing. Ended up in small business, emerging business sector, loved that. Went off to the Coca-Cola company after that, internal audit for a number of years domestically and internationally, and in other roles in management in the company. So that strategy piece is from having audited and worked with small businesses in the beginning, and then that corporate animal too that we deal with, we learn to deal with. And then the mindful piece, along the way, I early retired myself, and I was actually running a performing arts studio of all things in Bangkok, Thailand. And we lived there for 7 years, and I really began to learn more about mindfulness. We hear more about mindfulness today, but I literally studied mindfulness from Eastern philosophical teachings, whether it was a museum program where I was a volunteer for the National Museum in Bangkok to have tourists come through, and you have to learn about art history and religious history, and it's amazing, you know. And all of that is embedded in mindfulness. And that was before I ended up back in the States because, well, our daughters ended up going to high school here, but I went through a really bad divorce. And little did I know that mindfulness ingraining was going to pay or help me down the road. And so coming out of the divorce, I was looking for my next chapter and was talking to someone. And long story short, I became a mediator because I felt like there was a better way to do conflict resolution, especially in divorce. Little did I know I hadn't learned all about myself yet. And I had lots of things to learn about myself to where I could look back and go, oh, I was probably contributing a lot to my own misery and didn't know it. But that's when the mindfulness piece came in. And so early on, when I was looking to say, what do I name what I do? You know, the mindful strategy just felt like the right fit. And in short, it's, out of years now of being a mediator, I have basically taken or developed and refined a process where you can actually get to the heart of complex conflict, doesn't matter how long it's been there, very quickly and get a real resolution, because mediation only gets you settlement. But this is a way to get to the heart of it quickly and get real resolution with lasting change. And so that, heart clear, neutralize the situation to strengthen relationships. That's the mindful strategy in a nutshell. So,
I love that. And I love the road from being an audit all the way to now being this person who comes in with conflict and being like, okay. And we don't have a lot of time in the world. So to find that way to get to the heart of the problem, I think that's, in my own personal experience, that 6 therapy sessions that it's like, hey, can we just do this in the first one? Like, I'm so self aware. I'm like, here's why I'm taking therapy today. And they're like, oh, okay. So with that being all said, and with your history and CPAs, you know that with clients and corporate America and all that, conflict is something that is there day in, day out. So that's the reason it's called Virtual Rolodex. Why should you be in the CPA's Virtual Rolodex? And honestly, anyone in my community's Virtual Rolodex, because it's very important.
yeah, no, it's first of all, I think I love your virtual Rolodex podcast topic or genre. It's fantastic because of course Rolodex takes us back, but still it's important. Like who becomes top of mind, when, and why. So as far as like you said, everyday conflict exists, meaning we have differences of opinions, different judgments, assumptions. We come at it with different strategies, life with different strategies. So I always say it's not about avoiding conflict. Some people don't want to have conflict. Trying to avoid or not have conflict actually can create more issues than not. Um, it's understanding how to navigate through it. And so basically, when you have a situation, like I serve in three verticals: business partners who are in a situation where, they can't see eye to eye. There's a clash of strategic values or operating procedures or miscommunication. Rivalry can be in a family business or not related rivalries. Succession issues, divorce can impact business situations. And when I mentioned the process I developed over the years, unlike mediation, it does not require everybody around the table to resolve the conflict. It only takes one person, and that one person is the one person who really wants something to change. And so I do a lot more private conflict resolution coaching and conflict strategy coaching these days than mediation, because that really gets to the heart of things faster. And you want to have things resolved where you don't have that, "Ugh, I'm still not happy," that resentment. Because even if you've gone through a breakup, a business or a divorce, let's say, and you don't get that resolved, you take it to the next business partnership or relationship, and you wonder why the same thing happens. So business partners, they don't, if they want to work together, great. If they don't want to work together, that's okay. I can just help the one to help everything get resolved. Guiding them there. Second type of professional, and this includes again CPAs, business professionals who, or fiduciaries also, who see their clients who have conflict, and they're concerned that that's going to take its toll on the assets, right, or the business. In the case of trustees and estate attorneys, beneficiaries, that they're going to suffer in some way because the conflict is costing either money with unnecessary lawsuits, perhaps, or may cost them in not getting funding from the trust because they're not following certain rules, because there's some challenges there. Lastly, any firm or business organization who just wants to bring in professional development training for specifically for conflict resolution to get ahead of the curve, so that everyday stuff that's going on doesn't unnecessarily escalate into some drama that you don't need, because it's costly in time and money and turnover and lost clients, perhaps. Sometimes there's some partnerships dissolve because they just couldn't work things out. So anyway, but that's why having a conflict resolution expert in your Rolodex can be really helpful. So,
Well, I think as you're listening to this, to my viewers and listeners, think back to when you had those conflicts and what it did to your own mental health, emotional health, physical health. I mean, this is in this day and age, we have so much information coming at us. And I think it's really great that you're like, hey, I can just help one side. Like that
mhm.
person who comes to you is driven, like, hey, I don't want to continue this conflict because I know it's not healthy for me. So when a client comes to you, what are some of the things that you commonly see them saying, I just can't believe this is happening type of thing? What are those common hot spots that you're seeing in conflict?
Yeah, it's like there's common pain points.
Mm-hmm.
I, it's like it might be, you know um, uh, this is this keeps happening over and over again, right? And nothing ever changes. That's one. Another is, we've tried everything, or I've tried everything and nothing has worked. Another is, if my concern is, if this doesn't get resolved, we're going to lose fill in the blank, our best clients or our best team members,
Mm-hmm.
or the business, or we're going to lose a relationship. There's so many things that spill over. You talk about stress and all of that, and just maybe as a quick side note, that when there is conflict present, unnecessary conflict is there. That's okay, and you can navigate through it if you know how. But when it becomes unnecessary, it becomes debilitating, and that's a state of what I call the opposite of ease, dis-ease. You've probably heard me talk about this.
Yes,
You
yes.
pull out the hyphen, that unresolved conflict, that dis-ease, that state of being for so long, eventually can become disease because it's eating away at us physiologically, and which affects our emotional, our mental, our physical, and even our spiritual well-being, not religious, but our ability to tolerate other people's differences, right? And see things from a new perspective or a different perspective. And that wreaks havoc on us. And so understanding how to navigate through inevitable differences, again, of opinions and ways of doing business. It's, that it really can, maybe just to put a bow on it, it's all about the path of least resistance. It's like, how do you get from A to B to C, as smoothly as possible, knowing you're going to be things that you got to deal with, right? That's inevitable. My big mission in life is helping you to manage life's inevitable challenges with greater ease. Period.
Well, and conflict is not going to go away, you guys. I see a lot of CPAs, and I'm one of them. Like, conflict at first, no, I'm just going to deal with it, but then the health comes into be, the anger, the resentment, and then it's like, okay, now I need to face this, and how do I do that in a productive, efficient way? So tell
Yes.
me a success story with what, like, of course, client confidential and
Yeah.
all that,
Thank you.
but
Yes. Yes.
what's a success story that you're like, if everyone would just do a couple of these things, they life would be so much easier for them.
Yeah. Um, I will say, and this, yeah, with confidentiality applied, it was a CPA firm, and a partner came to me really frustrated with the situation in the firm, but who had also gone through some personal challenges. But that's not why he first approached me, and very quickly was able to help him construct a different way to communicate with his partners in the firm. And meanwhile, the personal issues, challenges he was having, he started asking, "Well, can you help me with this too?" And by the way, I'm on purpose not a therapist. I'm on purpose not a lawyer because I'm trained, mediator trained. But I'm seeing everything through the lens of a mediator, even though I do more private coaching these days. But I'm trying to help people not have to even get to mediation. I mean, it serves its purpose when you need it, but this is how you can prevent even going that far. So he was able to not only resolve the situation within the firm, which was really more about he was frustrated with his role in the firm. And he wasn't being allowed he was wanting to focus more on business development and growth, and he felt stuck in operations and 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 trying to work that through. And it was a family business as well, so this is
Okay.
more of a challenge as well. And then also just the whole knock-on effect, the issues that were challenges in his personal life were kind of bleeding into the business unintentionally, but it was like with anything in our lives, they affect each other, conflict, whether it's personal or professional. But ultimately, within the family, and in the way he was able to communicate and resolve things, not just for himself, but within the firm and within the family, gave him immense relief. And he probably had been going, this had been going on for at least like 1 to 2 years, the big
Wow.
issues.
Yeah.
And he'd heard me speak at a conference.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, that's when I started working with him. And within 3 to 4 weeks, one issue was resolved. Within a few more weeks, another issue was resolved. And was his, was very, just one of many rewarding experiences in serving my clients.
Well, I think it's interesting that people sometimes we get so in our head with things, and to have a sounding board such as yourself, I think is just it's priceless, because having that third party, like, hey, you know have you seen it in this light, and the awareness, you're like, you're not a therapist, but you have that mindset of seeing the entire picture, because as an auditor, you had to do that. Then you had to dive deeper into the figures, the numbers, and now you're into the issues. What is a true issue? Is it culture? Is it communication? Is it you're burnt out and it's just bleeding in all over your relationships, work, and personal? So, I mean, it kind of comes together when I see it that way and put the puzzle pieces together, and just as like one of those like heartwarming things. And I'm sure all your clients are like, oh, thank goodness, because I am positive. I am at 99.999% positivity on this of saving these businesses money, saving, the individuals money and
Yes.
time and
Yes.
attention.
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
listeners, think about it. When you're in conflict and you're not resolving it, how much time are you thinking about it? You're going to be working on that bank reconciliation and you're going to be like, and he said this and I need to say that type of thing. When you could just
Yes.
go to this special lady, Dana, and she'll tell you, like, no, this is the steps we're going to take. That way you come, everyone comes out not mad at each other and everyone's happy. Not,
Yes.
maybe not everyone's happy, but everyone's at peace with the decision at the end.
Yes. Yes. It gives you the best possible chance of getting again. That's what I call real resolution. Not just let's put a band-aid on it, and that's just well, let's just try to limp along for a while. And we've done this, we've come this far. Let's just keep going. No, inevitably it's going to break apart. It's all going to fall apart. And I I love the parallels you were drawing, to the accounting world and all, because it's like the deadlines are never going to stop coming. And this is a challenge. Some people, there's a concern about how long this is going to take. And when I say you can resolve something fast and for good, I literally don't mean in a day. Mediations can happen in a day, but again, it's a signed, it's this contract, a settlement agreement that may or may not, been really resolved, probably not completely. But this, if you've had any issues, again, 6 months, a year or more, I'm talking 5, 10, 20 years or more, even, you know, oh, relatively speaking, swift resolution is somewhere between, like, 2 to 8 weeks, and on average, right? So
Yeah.
that's not a long time, and it's only in just in working together, we're talking 3 to 4 hours a week max, if that, to get to the resolution. And to your point, there's always deadlines. There's tax season is always going to come and go, and you got closings and all that. There's never a convenient time to have to try to fix a problem. However, there's even less convenience and greater loss, like you say, and loss of time and money and relationship, and ultimately possibly clients. And then if the partnership folds, then now you're looking at the team that you were employing. I mean, there's so many knock-on effects here. But I know you and I've talked about this, before. But I just, yeah, your ability to make those parallels to, this is what we're doing in the CPA world, and this is how we can tie that to resolving the issues is really great.
Thank you. Yeah, and I think as you think about, oh my goodness, up to 8 weeks, you've already been him hawing on it for 8 months, 24/7. So I'm just saying, like, think about how long you've been thinking about, because the loss of profit that I'm sure there's scientific studies. I'm just going to say there has to be loss of profits when there's conflict in the firm, in the business, or even within a family structure. Because when people aren't happy, opportunities are missed because you're so focused on the negativity. So that's where I'm like,
Yeah.
if you can just get to the heart of the problem in a fast acting way, meaning less than 8 years, let's just go with
Yes.
that. The what's going to come into your life is a lot of blessings.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
that's why, you have
Yeah.
to be in everyone's virtual Rolodex. Just so
Yeah.
you guys
Yeah.
know, you have to have her now. Her contact information will be in the show notes, like always. So please reach out to her. So I always end with one golden nugget that you want to leave with the viewers and listeners.
Ooh, that remember that everything comes down to choice. That wherever you are in life, whatever challenges you're dealing with, and I'm speaking from personal experience and having discovered this for myself as well, that we are where we are in our lives because of what we've chosen, made decisions on, right? And you can always make a new choice, but everything comes down to choice, and whether it's choosing to address something when it really needs to be addressed, or whether it's choosing to ignore something, or it's just choosing how to respond to someone, choosing to perhaps consider someone else's viewpoint, because at the end of the day it's self-preservation, right? When we choose to be more open to options and choose to interact in a more effective way, maybe this is the most golden of golden nuggets, is that knowing how to effectively interact with each other is at the end of the day self-preservation, because it's going to have less stress attached to it, less cortisol attached to it, and you are going to get far more results, greater results, and probably live a longer, happier life for having reduced all that stress, right? From having resolved things and learned not just how to resolve the current situation, but how do you build on that? How do you not have the next everyday conflict become the next drama, right? It's learning how to navigate, again, inevitable challenges no matter what. But choosing, every choice you make is impacting your world. So that's what I'd love to say.
Oh, that was golden. Like that was worth so many golden blocks of whatever they call the gold. I forget now. But anyway, thank you so much, Dana, for being on today. I appreciate you and all the golden nuggets of wisdom you've left at conferences with our own conversations. And to the viewers and listeners, remember to subscribe because I'm checking a box that I'm supposed to say that. And I look forward to hearing you guys reach out to her for your own health, your mental health, because remember, we only have one life to live. Let's not spend it in stress. So thank
Yeah.
you so much for
Yeah.
being a guest.
You are so welcome. And a shout out to you, Kristie, for your truly broad and often unique viewpoint, that, there's a greater world out there than just our work world or just our family world, that, one life to live and all of that. And it's very short. I have, that's how I know, bonded so long ago. But just want to just acknowledge you for that.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate those words.
Yeah.
And you guys all have a beautiful day.